What's up guys, Chris here from Sane Elites bringing you guys another deck profile video. Today we're going to be going over a remake of a set 8 deck, set 9 deck that I still think could be decent in the meta with some of the stuff that I've kind of added to it, which is the Black Buu deck. I know everyone's been on the AOD kick, but this leader still packs quite a punch even through all of the bans and everything else from this deck. I still think this deck can be pretty good. Now this variation of the deck is, I changed a lot of ratios. I don't know if this is the most optimal way to play this deck. To me it feels like the best, because I think the two things this deck struggles with is being able to fill up the drop area quick enough, as well as being able to have enough negates for later on in the game, considering unisons are such a big thing now, and there's a ton of counterplays in the game. So let me know what you guys think of this deck. Like and subscribe. And we'll get right here to the deck profile. So Bibbidi, when he attacks on the front side, he draws a card and he gains 5k, becoming a 15k leader on the unawakened side. So you're always able to apply pressure, which is really, really good. And you awaken when you have no cards in hand, which is pretty easy to do in this deck. When you do that, you may draw 3 cards, choose 2 cards in your life, add them to your hand, and then flip this card over. And now on this side here, you don't draw from attacking, but you draw every turn if you have no cards in hand. So the idea is to dump your hand every turn and swing, and then draw a new 5 cards. Now this can be difficult sometimes depending on what you have in your hand, because sometimes you don't want to remove what you have in your hand, but sometimes you need to. So just kind of learning when to do that and when not to do that is sort of the key to playing this leader. You have 2 activate mains on the side, where you choose 1 card, place it in the drop area, and then you choose one of the following effects. So you can either choose one of your opponent's battle cards 3 or less and place it underneath this card, or this leader gets 5k. So with the 5k combo, that's really only good when you are swinging with maybe a Bibbidi super combo in a Champa trying to give a double strike. Other than that, we're going to use it to absorb a lot of our opponent's small cards. Now this is going to be really annoying against things like Vegex, because a lot of their cards are under their 3 or less, outside of the Vegeta and the 4-drop Mass Saiyan, but everything else is going to be generally under 3 cost for most of the game. So you're going to be able to absorb the Trunkses, the Kid-Kus. If they play the Narirama, you can absorb the Supreme Kais. So you have a lot of versatility with what you can do with this leader. Now, so the key, like I said, to this is to either dump your hand when you're going to go for a big damage turn, being able to give your leader a ton of damage and then swing, then give him double strike, or use it to absorb, kind of control your opponent's board, and then play stuff from your drop area. So we'll start with one of the best main board cards, I guess, for the meta currently, Black Mass Saiyan. The 1-drop, you play it, you can swing and take a life and gain 10k, so it becomes a 15k card, or if your opponent plays a battle card 15k or less using a non-keyword skill, your opponent has to drop 2 cards. So this is really helpful whenever you're playing against Vegex. Putting this on turn 1 stops Vegex until at least turn 2, when they can use Vegeta's activate main to warp this card. But it can definitely buy you a turn, which is really all you need in this deck, is to just buy a turn, or maybe even 2 turns, and then being able to then go in and start damaging Vegex or whoever. So we run 4 of those, 3 of the Majin Buu Searcher. You play it, you search top 7 for a black Majin Buu card, add it to your hand, then shuffle. So this is just to help you get your final combo pieces so you can dump them in the drop area. This is a tech option here, which is Vaughn the Righteous. So this card here, I was trying to find a way that I can safely burst energy every turn that wasn't a extra card. So the 2 options that I had was Universe 3 Assemble, which is an extra card that's 3 energy, or this, which is technically 1 energy every turn. So this card here, it says activate once per turn, you burst 2, and you use 1 energy. This card will gain 10k till the start of your opponent's until the start of your next main phase. So the idea with this card is we're not really going to use it to swing, more than likely, but we are going to play it turn 2, activate main, burst 2 more cards, and then try to fill up our drop area as fast as we can. We need to fill the drop area up so we can start playing all of our cards from the drop area. So this was kind of a really interesting tech option. I don't know how it fully plays out because I added this after I played it, but this was an addition right before I made the deck profile, just because I needed to find something that allowed me to burst a little bit. Getting 2 of these on board, you can tap 2 energy, burst 4, which is going to help you fill your drop area up, which is what the entire point of the deck is. 3 Majin Buu, Wickedness Incarnate. Another card that's very, very good. This is searchable off of your Buu as well. But when this card's in drop area, if all your energy is black, you can send this to the Warp. Can't activate this card for the rest of the turn, but at the end of your turn, you drop a card, and then you draw 2. So I don't know I don't know how the deck, I guess how this would function auto-wise. Because if you read your leader ability, if you have no cards in your hand, at the end of your turn, you draw 5. So, because this is an activate main, so this card says drop a card. I don't know if this triggers for it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on the ruling on that because it's an auto. So my thought is that if you drop a card from this, then you use it. Then this would activate, and you would draw 5 cards, and then. Oh yeah, so actually how it would work, if you have no cards, if you have no cards in hand, so you pitch this card, yeah, so, all right, we got this, yeah, so if you pitch this card, that's the last card in your hand, so then this would trigger, you would draw 5 cards, and then this would trigger, you would discard a card, and then draw 2 cards, so technically you're drawing 6, that's how it would work. It's a pretty interesting effect. I was trying to figure it out while I was doing this video, but that's what this stuff is for. So yeah, so this is a cool little interesting interaction here. Being able to basically pitch this, draw 5, and then pitch a card off of this, and then draw 2 more. So you could do a little more cycling. So we run 3 of those. 4 of the 1-drop Bibbidi. Card is really good. So after turn 2, when you have 2 more energy, when you play this card, you pitch a card from your hand, and then you play a Deborah, Pui Pui Yakan, or Majin Buu with energy cost of 2 or less from your drop area, and you can't use this card for the turn. So the idea is to play out the 2-drop Buu in this deck, also Pui Pui, basically just by, you more likely just pitch that card from your hand and then play it out, so you're just playing out a 2-drop for 1 energy. And then this is also nice too, because of against Vegex, this card can just apply pressure to Go Tanks. Which is just really funny. So along with this, we do run 2 of the Agent of Destruction Hatchiyak, because this card will allow us to search out this evil wizard Babidi. So I believe this was errated to say evil wizard Babidi. I think they did then set it set 9 when this stuff came out. But this card here, you for 1 energy, you discard the card from your hand, and then you get to play out a 1-drop from your deck or your drop. So this is really good. Because this allows you can play it out from your deck or your drop, so if you mill all of them, if they're all dead, you can just grab it from your drop area. And then when you play this card out, you get the effect. So it says you pitch a card from your hand, and then you can play out a Buu. So you get to use 1 energy, play this from the drop or the deck, and then play out a Buu from your drop area. Also, it has a pretty good cast effect for 3. Where when you play this card, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, 4 or less, and warp it, and then choose 3 your opponent's battle cards from their drop area and put them in the bottom of their deck in any order. So this is nice if they they have like the Draw Apes, they have Rebrands, they're playing Vegex. You can play this, warp their 4-drop, and then shuffle back in cards into their deck from their drop area that they probably don't want in their in their deck. 2 Pui Puis. If you have 2 or less cards in hand, your opponent can't activate counterplay skills. This is really effective, especially since it has barrier. You just sit this card on the board, and you dump your hand and then start playing out the Buu chain, and your opponent can't counterplay them, which is really, really nice. They're just not able to counterplay. It doesn't say they can't counterplay unless they do this. They're just not able to counterplay. So we run 2 of those. 3 the Mimicry. I think 3 is the perfect amount. This has an activate main where you can choose a Majin Buu card and give it 15k for the battle, so that's offensively or defensively. The activate main, though, is what this card is really good for. So if you have all black energy, You can send this card from the drop to the warp. You choose one card in your hand, discard it, and then you can play out a 2-drop Majin Buu from your drop area with its skills activated. So this just allows you to restart your Buu chain. So we will kind of go into the Buu chain now. So we have the 2-drop. If all your energy is black and you have no cards in hand, you may send this card to the drop, and then you can choose one of the 2 effects. So if you have 3 more energy, you can play a Majin Buu card between 3 and 6 from your drop area. Or if it's turn 2, you can play out a Majin Buu that's 3 or 4. So the best target for this is going to be the dual attack. That's going to be your turn 2 play if you're going into it turn 2. It's actually the only one you can play. You also can play the draw Buu as well. It's a 20k. But once you play this, you can't go into the other chain. So just something to keep in mind there. So this one has dual attack to 15k, and then all the Buu cards have this effect. If you have no cards in hand, you may choose one Majin Buu card in your drop area with energy cost between 3 and 6. Play on top of this and switch it to active mode. So then you have the 5-drop here, the Gohan Buu. So this guy is double strike, 25k, and it says on the card you can't play this card out from any area if you have 2 or less energy. So you can't play it out on turn 2. You can play it out on turn 3. Now these cards, this and the other 5-drop, you can only play out once per turn. So you can't do 2 chains with both of the 5-drops. So you kind of just pick one and then go into the 6-drop. But the other 5-drop is the 25k crit. So you have a 25k crit and a 25k double strike. Kind of just pick one of those and go into them, especially if you can do 2 of the chains in one. 2 of the promo Buu. Thoughts, I would say probably keeping this at 2. Don't think you need any more of it. Can be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills, and this card, if your opponent plays a better card higher than their current energy, you can choose that card and warp it. So against Vegex, it's good when they try to play out the 4-drop, the one that warps. The one that warps the life or warps 2 life and burns a life for you. You can do that. If they play a secret rare, you can use this to warp it. I won't swing with this card generally as I'm going for game, because I don't want it to be able to be attacked. So I'll just sit it there in active mode and wait for them to play something big. The actual like boss monster, I guess, of the deck, Supreme Evil. I would love to run 4 of these. I only own 2, so I kind of have to make do with what I have. But I think 4 of this card is great. When this card is in rest mode, your opponent can't use non-leader card skills to add cards from their deck to their hand. So they can draw off once per turn, they can draw off their leader, but they can't use like draw apes, they can't use other cards in their deck that allow them to draw. Only off leader. And then activate battle. This card, for 3 energy, you can give this card 10k and triple strike. It's pretty good. It's really good if you're not playing against black because of, the Bibbidi super combo. But you swing with it, you tap 3, and then you make this a 30k triple strike base, and then you just combo. But yeah, 4 of these are definitely the best thing. If you have these, you can run them, but 4 of these for sure is the idea. So now we get into the control part of the deck. So I do run a lot of negates in this deck, and I know some people say, well, why are you running negates? They clog out your hand. I know. But the idea is to try to make this deck kind of fit into the meta now, and I think this deck lacks defense. So we run 2 Protect of the People. This card's nice too because we also can pitch a card from our hand, which is good. We can pitch other dead cards. But you negate, and then you choose your leader. Choose one of your leader cards, and it gains the following effect. So when this card is attacked by a battle card, it gets 5k for the turn. Now, I think how this card reads is when this card gets attacked, you negate, and then you get 5k because they attacked your leader. I think. No, actually it would be the other way around. So you negate, the next time they attack your leader, you gain 5k. So as long as you're not playing against Vegex right now, this is actually really good because you're just gonna, the more and more cards they swing at your leader, the more and more defense you're gonna get. So it's just kind of, sometimes it will just shut down turns. 2 Petrification, same idea. It's another black negate that allows you to pitch a card from your hand. This one, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier. It can't attack, can't be placed in the combo area, and it can't activate skills. So it can't activate auto skills, it can't activate mains, can't activate anything. At least how I read it. So they can't activate anything. So just no skills on that card. It just becomes a vanilla for the rest of their turn and your turn, which is really nice. especially if you're trying to start the board and do some stuff. But it's just probably the best black negate in the game. I know a lot of people don't run it for some reason. So the one that everybody runs though is Power Burst. We run 3 Power Burst. Sparking allows you to, if you use a different negate that turn, you have this in your hand, you can take a life and stop something else. You can pull back a 1-drop. So you can pull back the 1-drop Bibbities, or these. You can pull back the Black Mass Sand, you can pull back the Vaughn, you can pull back the Searcher. So you have some options there. 1 promo Hatchiyak. I originally had 3 in the deck. I think 1 is plenty. You can pitch it from your hand to burst 2, and then you can use it to shuffle cards back into your deck. So, somebody asked me this. They said, well, you kind of want all your Buu cards in the deck, so what cards would you actually like to shuffle back into the deck? The main one being that. So we can shuffle back. We can shuffle back this. We can shuffle back hypothetically this if we didn't use it already. But you have to shuffle back 3 black battle cards between 3 and 6. I mean between 3 and 7. So you can shuffle back in other parts of the Buu chain. But this is definitely the main target you want to put back into your deck, which is partially why I want to run 3 of them. 3 of the AOD Hatchiyak, so I can just shuffle back all 3 of them into my deck. But yeah, so this is kind of the idea. But then this card gets played from the drop area, and if you swing at a battle card, you get the restand. So technically, it would have dual attack. So you swing at a battle card first, restand, and then if they use stuff to save it, you can swing at it again, or you just swing at a unison or swing at a leader or something, or just restand it. That way, they can't be attacked. 2 Majin Buu human extinction attacks. I think this card's really overvalued price-wise. I don't know why it's so expensive. But you can pull the card from your opponent's drop area, a battle card from your opponent's drop area and warp it, and then you burst 4 cards. So it's pretty cool. You can burst up to 4, so you can burst 1, you can burst 2, you can burst 0. But it also is a 15k combo power card as well. So a lot of uniqueness to this card. I remember I bought this card for like 90 cents, and now it's super expensive, which is just so strange. Maybe I'll realize why in the future, but 2 of is fine. You don't need to run any more than 2. The Bibbidi and Champa combination for endgame stuff, also for your leader. Bibbidi obviously isn't a very weird super combo in this deck, because the stronger this card gets, it means you're closer to milling yourself out. It's not the same thing as it is in Vegex, but it's still super good combination. Being able to just use these, tackle one of these on top of it, and then obviously the effect from your leader being able to pitch cards. It does feel really bad when you have to pitch the Bibbities so you can draw 5 cards, but it is what it is. That's kind of what the deck is. It's just kind of a full steam ahead. 3 Koitsukais. I understand why this card's so expensive. It should be this expensive. This card is fantastic. You can remove it from the game for 1 energy. You can take cards in your hand, put them at the bottom of your deck, and then draw that many cards. So you can do up to 2, you can do 0, it doesn't really matter. But then for the turn, if your opponent plays a battle card 20k or less, they have to choose 2 cards in their hand and send them to the warp. So if they topo you, they cocoon said they use any of the unison counterplays, they have to pitch 2 cards to the warp, which makes it super strong. Now you don't want to use Pui Pui in this in the same turn, because obviously that doesn't really work out too well. It will shut down basically everything, but Pui Pui is already making it so they can't play counterplays. So Pui Pui is more so, I guess, for extra cards, and then this would be for the battle cards. And then the last card is Jiren. I've yet to play it out yet, because we don't get really past turn 4. But if your opponent has 4 more energy at the start of your charge phase, you can play this card from your hand if it's the only card in your hand. So at the start of your charge phase, if this is the only card before you draw, you can play it out. Or if you draw this card, you can play it out. Either way, you can play it. Just a weird card. It's just a cool one of. I like the card art too. I don't know how dominating this card actually would be right now. I think in future sets this card can be pretty disgusting, so we'll kind of have to see. But yeah, just a one of right now. So that's my Buu deck as of right now. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.